So how long does crab bait last in a crab pot? It's a simple question without a simple answer. It's about to get real nerdy up in here, folks, so grab your popcorn and your calculators. Let's go.
All right, so in order to do this, we need to set up a scenario, okay? A simple thought experiment that looks at one of the most common decisions every crabber has to make, and that's how long you should let your gear soak. So let's assume a crabber sets and baits his entire rig, and after 24 hours, he's going to catch 6 bushels, and if he leaves the gear in for another day, the total catch increases to 9 bushels. Leave it in for another day, and it reaches 10 bushels. One more day, so a fourth day, that brings only another half a bushel, so 10.5 total bushels. Because then, the bait's nearly gone, and the gear is definitely less productive. So now let's add some economics to this. I know it's a lot, but it takes a crabber 8 hours to run his rig, and every day he works, it costs him equivalent of 2 bushels in fuel, bait, labor, any other expenses like food. And at market price, he's getting $200 a bushel. Okay, it's later in the season. Give me a break. So that means his net return changes depending on how long he waits before he pulls the gear. And if he pulls it every 24 hours, he's going to earn about $100 an hour. And if he waits 48 hours, that's going to jump to $175 per hour. If he waits 3 days or 72 hours, that's $200 an hour. And at 4 days or 96 hours, it reaches $212 per hour. I need to add an important caveat here. Now, these dollars per hour is just on the water time. It doesn't count all the weeks and hours that crabber spends working on his crab pots in the off season, or painting them, or all the expenses he has into them, or in his boat. So it doesn't. This is a little misleading. The crabber doesn't make this much per hour. I mean, you factor in all the hours and all the expenses, and it doesn't even take in taxes. So yeah, let's keep going. And at first glance, it makes it seem like, well, let's just wait longer. The bait's still catching even after 4 days. It's lasting. So why not just wait 4 days? Is that always better? No, not always. But then, the other question comes up is, well, what if your goal isn't maximizing dollars per hour? What if the crabber wants to maximize total weekly income? And if that's the case, then pulling every day is actually the most productive way to go. That's the most money over the course of the week if you go every day. So if your goal is to reduce workload, but also maintaining strong profitability, so somewhere in the middle, then, a 2 or 3 day soak is probably best for you. So if you only care about earning, the highest return for every hour, then obviously waiting the longest is the best for you. So I think this illustrates an important economic principle. It's known as the law of diminishing returns, because each additional day that your pots are in the water, it increases the catch, but by less and less than the day before. So the second day adds 3 bushels, the third day adds only 1 bushel, and the fourth day just adds a half a bushel. And this is a real scenario, folks. This is what happens out on that water. That bait lasts, it lasts 4 days, but again, the crabs eat it up and it gets sour. So the first day is always the best, but then, 3 or 4 days in, it's gone, and if there's lots of crabs, it can be gone in 1 day. So you can actually see it on the graph. The curve rises quickly at first, and then it begins to flatten. So that's the point where the value of waiting another day starts to diminish. So, the biggest takeaway for me isn't that there's a perfect soak time or there's a perfect answer to how long the bait should last. I think it really highlights that there really isn't a perfect answer. The optimal soak time and how long the bait lasts really depends on what you as a crabber are trying to optimize. If your goal is to maximize production, your answer will be, different than if your goal is trying to maximize efficiency and minimizing your crew fatigue or fuel costs or things like that. And also, balancing your work life with, your family life. So the graph doesn't tell us what every crabber, should do. It just simply gives you a framework for making that decision based on your own goals. And that's really what optimization is all about. Not finding the right answer, but finding the right answer that works for you in your operation. So, crab bait can last a long time, but, you start eating into those profits. So, hey, everybody's got to make that choice. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks a lot, and catch you on the next one.